Welcome back. So today we're going to dive into three really powerful tools: Argo CD, Pinecone, and Qdrant. Now, you hear these names thrown around a lot, sometimes in the same sentence, but here's the thing: they solve two totally different problems. In the next few minutes, we're going to give you a super simple framework to figure out which one, if any, is the right fit for you. Let's get into it. Look, it really all comes down to this one simple question. What's the fire you're trying to put out right now? Are you wrestling with how to get your applications deployed reliably and consistently? The whole continuous delivery thing? Or are you neck deep in the world of AI, trying to figure out how to manage all this complex vector data that powers your cool new features? Your answer to that question is going to send you down one of two very different paths. And this, right here, just lays it all out for you. On one side, you've got application management. That is Argo CD's entire universe. On the other side, that's vector data management. And that's the ring where Pinecone and Qdrant are duking it out. So let's be crystal clear. You don't choose between Argo CD and Pinecone. It's not an either or. You might pick Argo CD for your deployment, and then you have to choose between Pinecone and Qdrant for your data. They just aren't interchangeable. All right, so let's jump into that first problem: getting your application deployed and running like a well-oiled machine. This is where we need to talk about Argo CD, which honestly is an absolute beast in the world of GitOps. This quote pretty much says it all. It's the magic trick behind Argo CD. Forget all those manual kube control apply commands. Forget that nagging fear that your staging environment doesn't really match production. With Argo CD, your Git repo becomes the single source of truth, the one and only. If the code says it should be there, Argo CD makes damn sure it's running in your Kubernetes cluster. End of story. So how does it actually work? Well, the workflow is actually beautiful. A developer pushes a change, a tweak to a YAML file or a Helm chart, into Git. Argo CD is just sitting there watching that repo like a hawk. It sees the change instantly, then it looks at what Git says should be running and compares it to what's actually running in the cluster. If there's a difference, bam, it fixes it. It reconciles the state automatically. The result is this smooth, automated, and completely auditable deployment pipeline. Let's make this feel a bit more real. Picture a startup with a SaaS platform. The dev team makes their changes, commits the application config to a Git branch, Argo CD sees it, and automatically deploys that version to staging. Everybody signs off on it. Promoting to production? That's not some big ceremony, it's just merging the branch. And here's the best part. If something goes horribly wrong, a rollback isn't some crazy all-hands-on-deck fire drill. It's just git revert. That's it. And Argo CD just obediently rolls the cluster back to the last known good state. It's that simple. So this is the absolute key takeaway for Argo CD. Think of it as the orchestra conductor. It's all about the application's configuration, its state, making sure it's running exactly as you've declared in Git. It has absolutely nothing to do with what's inside your application. Not the user data, not the vector embeddings, none of it. And that distinction is crucial as we pivot to our next topic. Okay, so we've got our apps running, awesome. But now let's talk about that second core problem: managing all that specialized data for your AI stuff. And this brings us right to the main event: Pinecone versus Qdrant. And just like that first big question, the choice here really boils down to a classic engineering trade-off. You got to ask yourself, what do we care about most right now? Is it the raw, unadulterated speed of getting our product to market using a service that handles everything for us? Or is it having absolute ironclad control and sovereignty over our data by hosting it ourselves? So let's talk about Pinecone first. The easiest way to think about it is as the easy button for vector databases. It's a full-on software as a service. You're not spinning up servers, you're not worrying about scaling, none of that headache. They give you an API key, and your team just starts pumping vectors in and querying them. The whole operational mess, that's their problem, not yours. And this is a total game changer for some teams. Just look at this example. An AI startup trying to get their MVP out the door. They use OpenAI to create their embeddings, they dump them into Pinecone, and they built a working RAG chatbot, that's a retrieval augmented generation bot, in 2 days. 2. And the killer part? They didn't need a dedicated DevOps engineer for any of it. That is a massive advantage when you're a small team trying to move fast. So if you boil it all down, Pinecone's entire philosophy is about taking away the complexity so you can maximize your speed. You are making a very deliberate trade. You're giving up some of that fine-grained control over the nuts and bolts in exchange for the ability to ship your AI product faster than basically anyone else. Okay, now let's flip the coin and talk about Qdrant. Qdrant is the polar opposite in many ways. It's open source, and it's designed from the ground up to be self-hosted. That means you are responsible for deploying it, for managing it, for scaling it on your own infrastructure, whether that's your own servers in a data center or on a platform like OpenShift. The payoff for all that work? Complete, total ownership. And you might be asking, why would anyone want all that responsibility? Well, this banking example tells you everything you need to know. For this bank, there's a rule that is absolutely non-negotiable. Sensitive customer documents cannot, under any circumstances, leave their building. A SaaS solution like Pinecone, it's just not even an option. So they deploy Qdrant inside their own ultra-secure OpenShift cluster. This lets them build an amazing internal AI tool while ticking every single box for compliance and data security. So you can see Qdrant's philosophy is pretty much the mirror image of Pinecone's. It's for the enterprise, where control isn't just a feature, it is the feature. It's for when security and data sovereignty are your number 1, 2, and 3 priorities. It puts you in the driver's seat, but it also gives you the keys, the gas can, and the repair manual. So let's really put them head to head here. Deployment. Pinecone is fully managed SaaS. Qdrant is self-hosted. Management. With Pinecone, you've got basically zero overhead. With Qdrant, you've got full control and all the responsibility that comes with it. Data control. The vendor handles it for you in Pinecone, while with Qdrant, you own it completely. So it maps pretty cleanly to the ideal use cases. Pinecone is a dream for fast MVPs and startups that need to move quickly. Qdrant is the go-to for big enterprise or anyone in a regulated industry like finance or healthcare. All right, that was a lot. So how do you actually use this information? Let's pull it all together into a dead simple framework that you can take right back to your team meeting tomorrow. Here you go, 3 steps. Step 1, start with that big question. What problem are we actually trying to solve? Is it deployment or is it AI data? If the answer is deployment, then you need to be looking at Argo CD and the whole world of GitOps automation. If the answer is vector data, then you've got that classic trade-off to discuss as a team. Do we prioritize speed and simplicity? Go with Pinecone. Do we prioritize control and ownership? Go with Qdrant. It's that straightforward. And I want to leave you with one last question to chew on. We spent this whole time carefully separating these two worlds, right? Application deployment over here, AI data management over there. But as AI stops being this separate feature and starts becoming a fundamental part of our core infrastructure, is it inevitable that these two worlds are going to smash together? Are we going to see new tools that manage both the application and its AI data from a single source of truth like Git? Now that's something to think about as you plan what your stack is going to look like in the years to come.